Goodbye. What's going on? Buenos dias, children. How are you guys doing today? Here again for another coffee Q&A. It's Friday, August 26th, and we're wrapping up our immersion week of brewing. So if you've been following us this week on the live stream, we've been brewing with all immersion brewers like this Bonavita and the Abbott Clever, as well as the traditional French press from Bodum. Fantastic. And then yesterday, of course, we did our unboxing of the Hario Switch. Not bad, not bad. We followed their recipe, so it's a little bit different. But we're going to be using the same coffee. The coffee today we're going to be using is the, here we are. This is the Perla Negra. This is the Perla Negra that's actually a month old. This is the Perla Negra that was roasted on Monday. And so as you can see, they're relatively the same profiles. This one definitely is shinier because more of the oils are coming to the surface. This is what will happen to coffee over a longer period of time. And so, that's just part of the process. And it all depends. Like if a little bit darker roasting, right, like we do for this particular coffee, I like to take it to a nice medium, right? City plus, not really city, maybe city plus. And I really like how that brings out a lot of the nice characteristics and sweetness of the coffee. Get that Maillard reaction happening with the beans itself. So you get that really nice character. And actually coming up in a couple weeks, I think, like next week, we're going to do Hotel Week, which is coffees from hotel rooms. We're going to see how those do. But then I think the week after that, we're going to do this series of coffees where we're going to roast the coffee on Monday, taste it throughout the week, and see what the changes are and how much CO2 occlusion happens during that first week of roasting. So that's what's coming up. But if you have any questions, you're just joining us live, don't forget to questions this way, right? Nope, this way. Yeah, I put up your questions here. And yeah. And or if you're watching us on replay, watch us, comments and questions down below. If you have any comments and questions about, or what we're doing, or questions about coffee in general, or suggestions about future videos, let me know too. All right, so let's get straight into it. Today we're going to be checking out this thing called the Kai House Coffee Press Pot. And the Kai House, this is something that I found at the Mitsua Marketplace. And Mitsua is a Japanese grocery store. And for New Year's Eve, I went out to Chicago to hang out there for a couple days. Ended up visiting, hung out with friends, visited Mike Ebert from Fire Dancer Coffee Consultant. So if you need any coffee consulting for roasting and stuff like that, give Mike a call at Fire Dancer. They're out in Schaumburg, Illinois. And so as I was there, I went to the market because I like to buy stuff, or I like to see what ingredients that are available. And I saw this, and it was like $10. I was like, you know what? I don't even know what this is. Really, I have no idea what this is. It's other than the fact that it says press pot. And for today's thumbnail, I looked up online and found a picture of it to use. But I thought we would open this up and see what the press pot is. Let's use it. Let's give it a brew. And yeah, let's do that. All right, so here we are. The press pot, nice thing is that it doesn't require any cutting. So just open the tab, pull that slot out. Look at that. I mean, I do like that it's fully printed. That's a nice thing. There is instructions on how to use that are completely in Japanese. Boil water, wait 1 to 2 minutes, press down. There you are. I think that's what it's saying. Whoops. Oh, no. There's always something, I tell you. There's always something. Okay, 100. So let's have a look here. It says, I don't know what it says. 140 mils, so that's the water. 10 grams of coffee. Wow. All right, and then you add the coffee here. So take the plunger out, add coffee, add water, wait 1 to 2 minutes, plunge down, and then pour out. So I think we're going to try that. We're going to try that. We're going to try their methods. I figure that whenever manufacturers provide brew methodology, let's give it a try and see what it's like, because otherwise we're just doing, 2 grams for every finished ounce. And, maybe that gets a little bit boring. All right, so let us see. Oh, let's go to the brewer itself. Okay, so here's the brewer. So this is what they call a coffee press pot. I mean, it's kind of attractive. You can kind of see the detail here. They have these holes at the bottom of this kind of rubberized base, right? So I think that's, attractive. If they offered it in different colors, that'd be really cute. And that will that come off? Yeah, it'll slide off. So it just presses on there, right? So that's cute. So for washability, it's easy. Then there's this handle. Now, how does this thing come out? Oh, you got to pull it out. Okay, so you pull this out, and it's kind of tight. Interesting. Okay, so let's look at the bottom here. There is this mesh. Oh, that does twist. Oh, yeah, it does open and lock. Oh, there's a mesh here, right? It actually says open and lock, so you can open it and take off this cap. Oh, it's the cap that comes out. Then there's this perforated stainless filter that does not seem to be readily coming out. Yeah, I would have to rip that out. So I guess this pulls it out so you can actually get to clean it. Sorry. You get to clean it. And let's put that back together. Lock that in place. Now, if you can see it here, there is some kind of ball here. See it moving? And this says to open. Now, there is a big hole here. So this is not a vessel itself. This is just, so I guess you can open this so that you can clean it. But it's really just a pressing unit. So I think the idea is that the valve, when it's upright, the valve is there to keep it closed. Although I don't really understand why there's a ball valve there at all. I mean, my presumption is that we're putting the coffee in here, plunging it down, and then the friction of this gasket holds it in this thing, and you can use the handle to pour. Oh, because it's a solid piece, right? So that's why that perforated panel here filters the larger particulates, and it flows and since this at bottom is sealed, the only way for it to come through is through this valve, this valve here, and that will close, making it a one-way passage. So it only comes through and out, and it won't go back down, just in case you decide that you're going to pull this thing out. And then this comes off just for ease of cleaning, which is actually, I gotta say, that's cool. Now, why they have it slotted here open, I'm not really sure. Maybe also for ease of cleaning, or maybe just ease of something. But the gasket that's on the bottom here, this O-ring, will seal the main vessel off from the rest of the coffee, so that even though this is open, as the water comes up, it only will fall to this O-ring. And yeah. All right. So it says 140 mils of water, 10 grams of coffee, and 1 to 2 minutes. So at that rate, I think it probably says something here about the grind setting, but my Japanese, I can't read Japanese. There was a time when I could read the hiragana, katakana fairly well, like that's ra, and that's, I don't know what that is. Shi, ka or ku. No, that's she. That's she. This is see. This is why I'm really illiterate when I go to Japan. One time, back in 1990, I had some literacy, but now no more. Anyway, we're gonna follow their instructions, and they're saying 10 grams of coffee. We're gonna use the coffee we've always been using, our Perla Negra. Ugh. Okay, good. 11. That's fine. And now we will grind this sucker up. We're actually gonna keep up with kind of a medium grind to get a little bit more extraction for the short period of time. 1 to 2 minutes is pretty short, so. So it says 10 grams. What about this? Seems a little bit weird. Okay, we'll use a bottom vessel. There's 11. 11 will be fine. And we're going to count up. We've got our hot water ready to go. Whoa. 140. Wow, that was really fast. That was a little bit fast. All right, so it says to wait 1 to 2 minutes. We're gonna go up to 2 minutes because we want to go to 2 minutes. I mean, that's crazy. I don't understand why. Okay, so it does say here something 140 mils. Perhaps that's per cup, 140 mils per cup, 10 grams per cup. So perhaps it's telling us that we can just use that as a ratio to scale up, because this doesn't even fill. It doesn't even fill the thing up, but well, we'll find out. My lack of literacy in Japanese could be leading us astray today. All right, we're at about a minute 15. Right, and yeah, 140. So how's everyone doing today? Good? Anything happened? It's a little bit humid here in Baltimore. It was kind of cool yesterday morning and the last couple of days, but today we're back to humidity, and that's a little bit disappointing. Minute 50. All right, that's good. We're going to take it now, and here is our elixir. And we just take our top, and the whole top just plunges on in. And I think we're just supposed to plunge it straight up. And I don't know if you can see this, but there is the water kind of, well, gosh, that almost resulted in no volume at all. But it does kind of it looks like it's percolating when it comes through that ball valve. And that's pretty much it. Let's get our cup here. So much like a French press, there is a bit of cloudiness to the coffee. It's hard to see in this overhead shot, but it's there is cloudiness to it. Hey, Dan, what's going on? Good to see you. We're back to humid weather in Toronto as well. Oh, man, that's too bad. How's the fires? We haven't had much of the smoke in this part of the country from the Northwest Territories. I think it's Northwest Territories has the fires, or is it just in the Horseshoe area? Anyway, But I did, when I arrived here at the shop this morning, I did smell some kind of like what smelled like a burning smoke, but I haven't seen anything burning. One of the big buildings down the street from us burned back in May, June. So that could just be the waftingness of that. All right, let's try this coffee at their recipe. And after we've been brewing these larger cups, it seems comically small. And why? And I was also thinking about this Hario switch from yesterday. What was it, 200 mils of water? And it's like, that seems kind of small. But really, even though I'm making a typical 12-ounce cup at 350 mils, like most of the time, not most, but yeah, I would say, yeah, a lot of times, I won't even finish 12 ounces. Like, I'll drink maybe 8, and that's enough. So, I don't know. We've had a lot of small early on in the summer and fires in Quebec. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. All right, well, let's cheers. Let's see what it's like. Oh, that's really kind of pungent and sour and perhaps over-extracted. So here's might be a good example, right? So yesterday, same coffee, similar ratio, not really the same, but we followed their recipe. And nice sweetness, clarity, tropical fruit, juiciness. Really a pretty cup that's bright. This is a sour, not so pretty cup. And I'm thinking that, so I said, as we were planning this shorter brew time, shorter or less quantity, different ratio. So 10 grams of coffee, 140 grams of water, 1 to 2 minutes. So I took that 1 to 2 minutes and I thought, let's grind it finer to medium instead of the very coarse to help get more extraction. And that definitely has happened, but it has not happened in a pleasant. Yeah, it's really sour, puckering, bright, but not in a pleasant, sweet way. Which kind of goes to illustrate the difference in how your approach to brewing and your parameters really matter, because it will change a coffee's quality. Like that's not pleasant. That's not enjoyable. Yeah, that's quite shockingly not so good. All right, let's have a look at the container. So it's real simple. You take it out. Now there's a little bit of coffee left inside this inner vessel. Just going to pour that out. Put that in the sink, and then we've got our particulates in here. All right. Well, that's not so happy. Not a happy coffee. Not good to go with my concha. I stopped by the Latino market this morning right before I came in to grab me a concha. And actually, I must say that if you're not too familiar with concha, conchas are pan dulce from Mexico. And I thought this was a little bit odd. Like, it normally has this sugar top, and normally it covers the entire thing. But this one was like small, and I was kind of concerned because so I find that most pan dulce is kind of dry in the crumb. The last time I went to this particular Latino market, whatever bakery they're getting from is a little bit softer, a little bit more moist in the crumb, which is what I prefer. Years ago, I was introduced to a place called Bondi in Mexico City, and it was amazing. And to me, that's like the gold standard of concha. Unfortunately, quite a number of years ago, Bondi closed, and alas, there's no place to go. Like, there's another place called Maque in Condesa. That's pretty good. That's very good. But it's not quite the Bondi cooking experience, which is what I really am craving for. So, but this place is quite nice, and I was like, I have to go talk to them more. My Spanish is also very terrible. So, I'm trying to think about, the question for me is like, when does the pan dulce come in? So, was it cuando pan dulce? I want to say regresar, but that's wrong, So, especially when I'm traveling and like going to Spanish speaking countries, I really have kind of like kindergarten level um, vocabulary. So it's kind of like, oh, hi, I'm the local idiot visiting. So really, it's more like I'm just go to these markets and just kind of like, see, 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 see. Okay, hasta luego. Gracias. Now I have the accent down pretty well, which is probably worse because if I came in well, okay, hasta luego, gracias, then they'd be like, okay, this gringo guy. But I think they look at me stranger because if I say something, luego, gracias, then they're kind of like, well, he kind of spoke it well, but he didn't say anything else. So is he just like an idiot? Anyway, but so that's our Kai house. Well, I have to experiment with that more. I think that it'd be better if we use different ratios. Our typical ratio would be better. But before we head out, I wanted to share with you, Eduardo Valle, you can ask, cuando llega, hold on, let me see. Unfortunately, Eduardo, there's a heart icon like covering part of what you wrote. Cuando llegar el pan. Cuando llegar el pan. Okay, cuando llegar el pan. Okay, tomorrow. Mañana I will go there and be like, buenos días. Cuando llegar el pan. Oh, no, it made me more like, cuando llegar el pan. Huh? Yeah, maybe that's better. Okay, anyway. So let's go through. So tomorrow is Vent Coffee's 5th anniversary. And if I probably have mentioned this during the week, Vent is co-owned by one of my former general managers, coffee roaster, and my right-hand person, Sarah Walker. Really great person, great coffee personality, great, coffee person. And they're celebrating their 5th anniversary tomorrow with an event at their roasting space at the Union Collective here in Baltimore, Maryland, 41st Street. So if you happen to be in Baltimore or can come to Baltimore, it'll be kind of fun event to come check out. I don't really know what they're having. If you go to the Vent Coffee website, and I'll try to put that in the link down below after the show. I know I said I was going to do some links yesterday, and I totally forgot. So I might totally forget. But if you look up Vent Coffee, I think they have a list of what's happening. So a bunch of roasters are coming out to serve cold brew. And it's going to be like, people's choice. So people will taste the cold brew, little tiny servings. They're supposed to give out like 1 ounce servings, and then they can vote on their favorite. So they asked us to make it. I was like, okay, I'm happy to participate. So I'm going to show you how we're going to make the coffee for tomorrow. Since it's an immersion style brewing and it's Immersion Brew Week. So this is I've already done some of the pre-work, right? So this is the coffee, coarsely ground. And I ground this in a Grindmaster 875, shop grinder. So it's fairly nice and fairly consistent, right? So what I've done is I've taken a container. This is just a Cambro container that I swiped out of the kitchen. This is a 1 gallon container. You can see it says 4 quarts here, right? 4 quarts. And, there's all kinds of brewing apparatus that you can use. I'm really going to go with a really simple style of brewing this. Like I showed, I think, earlier this week with the cold brew, and I took something I brewed it in the half gallon size of this and poured it through a home toddy brewer just to filter it. I'm planning to do the same thing tomorrow morning to filter it out. But anyway, so I've taken this 1 gallon container, 1 pound of coffee, so 453 grams if you want to use gram scale, coarsely ground, and I've just put it in this container. What we're going to do is it's really simple. This is actually coffee. This is this coffee that I roasted on Monday. So it's going to be a little bit more gassy. So what we're going to do is we're going to add cold water, let it bubble, right? Let it bloom, and then wait a few moments. Maybe we'll stir it down or punch it down with more water. And then we're just going to set it aside and let it run for, well, I have to be there like at 11:30 tomorrow. So I'll probably let it run till about this time tomorrow. More or less a gallon of, you can make it a gallon by adding more water to it, of what we call concentrate, right? So it's a double strength brew, and then you can cut that down, or you don't have to cut it down. If you want to have más fuerte kind of coffee, you don't have to do that. But we will cut that down to serving strength and then serve it that way. And I'm thinking we're going to push it through Matt's going to be there as well, so we're going to probably push it through the what is it called? There's the Brood. The Brood. There's a video on on the channel about the Brood, Brood, and it's a tabletop nitrogen dispenser that pulls the nitrogen from the atmosphere, so you don't have to bring a nitrogen tank. All right, so let's have a look here. We're going to take that. We're going to fill it with water. Let me just twist this over here to our sink. So we're not going to do it. Sorry, I think it's crazy in here. We're not going to do anything too crazy with it. I'm just going to wet it like that. As you can see, a lot of it is floating, right? Some of it's floating. Oh, yeah. Definitely need to stir that. Yeah, we're just going to stir it around just to make sure that everything is saturated. We want to make sure that all the coffee is saturated by the water and can begin its extraction. Try to give you a little bit more view here. You don't have to necessarily be terribly gentle at this point. What we're really trying to do is make sure that we get good extraction from the coffee by making sure that it's fully hydrated. Now, when you do this in in commercial settings, we're doing it in 5-gallon containers. And the procedure is relatively the same, a little bit different because the quantities are different. Add some more water. We're going to go right to the top. Maybe give it another stir to make sure that it's all getting mixed well. All right, that gives us right about four quarts, 1 gallon. And that's pretty much it, right? We're just going to take that and put this aside and just leave it alone. We're not going to touch it. We're just going to let it do its thing. I'm going to cover it, make sure no particulates or bugs or anything gets on top. And then tomorrow we're going to just strain it out and roll with it. So that's the nice thing when you're doing cold brew. It can be very simple. This immersion style cold brew, very simple. These are what we call you could call this a toddy style of cold brew, but really it's immersion. Another type of cold brew that we do is the pour over type, where we have these towers, these Japanese Kyoto style towers that the water slowly drips through the coffee. So technically it is kind of a pour over. So you could do coffee many different ways and explore different ways. And as we can see today with this, we really got different results. And, that's one thing that you want to consider as you're making coffee. Like, you can play with different things, like the grind setting. Like, I do think that by making it finer, that was not a positive thing for this coffee. So back to the drawing board. We'll have to play with this more again. Maybe I'll make another pot, at some point and see how it turns out. All right, so that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for tuning in this week here on the Coffee Q&A on the Onocoffee channel for Immersion Week. Immersion Week's over. Next week, we're going to do hotel coffees, except for Wednesday. I've got to go to the hospital, take my aunt to the hospital on Wednesday, so we will not be having a live stream on Wednesday. But the plan currently is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So hope you have a great weekend. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. Let's see. Dan says, would you grind coarser and adjust water temp next time? Yes. So the water temp I probably will stay with because relatively I stay close to 200, not 195 Fahrenheit. I stay close right around the 191 to 200. But definitely I would go back to the standard practice. Coarse ground coffee, and I like the 2 grams for every finished ounce. So that's a nice, gives you a good extraction. Quote unquote SCA Gold Cup standard, kind of TDS readings. And really, that's probably what I should have done so that we have more of an equal base to evaluate the brewer, right? But I think it'll be fine. Actually, by the time when I finish the live stream, I almost certainly will be making one because I still have the pan dulce to eat. And I would like to have that with coffee. All right, so until next time, thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you again on Monday. If you have the time, come join us, Monday, 10 a.m. We're going to be talking hotel coffees and probably tasting some, hopefully not too terrible coffees this next week. All right, so until that time, enjoy yourself. You too, Dan, man. Have a great weekend, and see you next time.